This video is for the cowards amongst us like myself. If you've grown up in potentially like the feminine society around us with feminine school, but probably more importantly, your family wasn't necessarily feminine, but they certainly put down your ability to be angry and aggressive and determined, chances are you're a coward. So the way that you know that this video is for you, maybe you're interested in it if you're not, but the way that you'll know is that you have a pretty hard time to be like angry. Potentially you get angry sometimes, you get pissed off sometimes, but like at someone else, not necessarily. You couldn't imagine like disagreeing with someone sometimes. Sometimes you're very like agreeable, so you're almost like a pushover. You kind of like let things slide. If there is something that you've got to bring up to someone in like a negative way, you've got to like reject someone or anything, it's kind of hard for you to do. If you relate to that type of stuff and you do feel like you've had the personality of like a coward, even though you might, get angry sometimes by yourself and you get pissed off that someone said something, you don't often kind of say it to them. You found times when like you were getting picked on in school, they were hitting you or anything, and you never hit back. You've never maybe like punched someone in the face or anything when you should have. Obviously, I'm not inciting like unnecessary violence, but there are absolutely a lot of times when like a lot of men should have like fought back, but they didn't because of this fight or fright kind of response of like staying frozen and just taking the fucking hits from someone else. It's probably put down by your family. So what would have happened is that you were a baby and something happened and you your parents did something to you or whatever, and you got angry, you got aggressive to that, and then they hit you more for it. They made it worse. When you've had your anger put down as a child, you then have this like sense of like repression towards it. It's very interesting. Like, so I read a book. I've been reading the same book. It's called Complex PTSD by Pete Walker. I've mentioned it a few times on my channel. I was reading it and he was giving this example of how to like raise your children properly, and this is very important for this topic. And he said, his child. So this guy's, he's all about like he knows trauma and everything, and he said that his child went into like a little angry mood for something, like he was like stomping his feet, and he just let his child like experience that anger, and within like a few minutes, the child's like being nice again, and it really like fucking hit me, and I was like, oh shit, like. Don't you think, at least my parents did, but like, don't you think like the majority of parents, when their child is like being angry and stomping their feet and getting loud and screaming, what do most parents do? They tell the child to shut up. They tell the child not to be angry. They repress that anger, like the resentment. Like a child should be angry. Like the child like goes through like the death of its like majesty. Like, like the child is like, the book gave this quote by Freud, which is like, the baby, the majesty, something like that. The child is treated like the majesty. The child is treated like the queen, the king or the queen, and everyone's like doing everything for it. But as the child grows up and it's 5 years old, and you start to enforce some rules onto the child, they get angry because they're angry at the death of like their previous freedom. They should be allowed to be angry. We probably weren't. When we were angry, we were like told off more, we were hit more, we were like pushed that anger and aggression off from us. We go into school, when we get angry at something, at some injustice that happens to a child, like we wanted to sit on that seat next to the cute girl or whatever the fuck's like we're getting angry about, and then the teachers get angry at you and they put you down. I had a lot of that shit. I don't know about anyone else, but I had a lot of that shit of, like, I was never able to like express like that type of life. Because one, if I was ever angry or aggressive, I'd get hit by my parents, and that would of course make me very silent and everything. But two, in school, I'd get screamed at by these mental fucking teachers. And this was in the UK as well. Obviously, they never hit me or anything. I feel like they would have, like, if they were allowed to. But they were like, they would, if I was like angry in any sense, if I was like having a little fight with my friend for something, you're supposed to get pissed off sometimes. If you've had that response repressed inside of you, you turn into like this adult who, from the outside, a lot of people are proud at you because you're the calm guy and everything, and you get like some respect from that. But it's not always positive being that calm guy, because oftentimes you're way more passive than you should be. Sometimes you look calm and it's like you kind of look like you win the fight without even trying or whatever. But sometimes you need that fucking aggression inside of you to make a fantastic point, to protect yourself, to like pursue something competitive. You need it. So I wanted to make a video for the cowards amongst us who struggle with reclaiming that male aggression that is our birthright, because society and our family and our upbringing has stripped that away from us. I've recently just started to get my male aggression back for most of my life, I've been a pussy. I've been a pushover. I've always had this front, like not always, but like for, you know, the years I was in university, I was weightlifting, I was doing a bit of boxing and everything. I was like lad, you know, like going out to clubs, drinking and stuff. I was like fucking a lot of girls. I was like pounding them and everything. So I always had this like this persona of like, not exactly aggression, but you know, like I'm a hard lad type of thing. But I can remember key moments, and you probably can for yourself, when there was a point to actually get aggressive, you know, to like literally hit someone or anything. A lot of the times I kind of like was way more passive when there was simply a point to like bring up to maybe a friend, or you know, to like do something to invoke some power, to invoke power. I would often like shy away from it. If like the example I can give you is, imagine like a friend like annoys you in like a bad way, like, you know, he's done something to really piss you off, and the current thing is, okay, I've got to tell this friend that he's annoyed me, he does this thing that I don't like. Oftentimes you'll find yourself not doing it. The guy who's got some male aggression will do it, and hopefully not in like the bad way of, you know, being hostile, but like he'll find it quite normal to like bring up the thing of like, bro, you do this thing that pisses me off. Whereas like a lot of the times, if you're like me, like you let that shit slide, even though you constantly overthink about it, and it's like it just becomes more of like this, more pain, and you hate this person even more because of how much mental space they're taking up, even though they haven't like done something that bad. So for me, it's been with on the Discord server that I've got, it's been with guys that I've coached previously. It's this thing of like, you know, sometimes they disappoint me, sometimes I don't want to like help them anymore, sometimes I want to like ban someone from the Discord server, and it's like I always just hold off on it, because I've never felt the ability to have that power to actually like put in some of the aggression into work. And you turn into this pushover, but again, like the society around you rewards you for it, and they're like, oh look, he's so calm. But sometimes you don't want to be fucking calm, bro. Sometimes you want to be a little bit angry. I'd say kickboxing has helped in a sense, because it, like, weightlifting, like, it didn't really, you know, it didn't let me, it let me, you know, grunt and everything, and that's somewhat nice, but I don't really think it helped with this personally, even though most people would suggest, like, you know, lifting heavy weights and everything. I don't really think it helped that much. Kickboxing did in a sense, because it's really, really a lot of noises, and you're like, you know, you're getting loud, like you're really hitting something. So that helps in a sense. But I found a lot of it is like, I think just the first thing to help you reclaim your aggression is just watching this video and getting inspired to think like, oh yeah, like I should be more aggressive sometimes. I should be like, you know, like pushing forward, like pushing, being assertive, and like being disagreeable sometimes. I should, like, that's the right that I have as a man. That's potentially like, you just needed to be inspired for it. But there's a few things I've wrote down that that you can pursue. And but one of the rewards I've wrote here, I forgot I wrote this, but one of the things I wrote, that a reason to do this, of course, you know, you'll stop being a pushover, you'll start asserting yourself. Men who assert themselves, men who are disagreeable, make more money and get more like mates and everything. Like, you'll like literally sleep with more girls the more that you reclaim your male aggression. And again, some dickhead's gonna take this wrong way. I'm not saying to be like the aggressive guy. I'm not saying to be a bad person, to be a hostile, angry person. I don't like that shit. I'm never gonna be like that. But you should have the ability to tap into your male aggression when it is needed. Does that make sense? One of the benefits of this, of course, you know, you're gonna make more money and everything. You're gonna protect yourself. But one of the random benefits, I think, is like, if you don't do this, like how we've lived, if you've been a coward like me, is with a way that reduces your testosterone. Because instead of competing, competition is the thing that increases testosterone more than everything else. Competition, let me say that again, competition is the thing that increases your testosterone more than anything else. And everyone's going to disagree, but no, lifting heavy weights, sleep. The thing is, those things are fantastic, and do them. You 100% do them, you'll get some good boost from that. I want you to think right now, what would be the thing that would spike the fuck out of your testosterone? One of the few instances where your testosterone would spike like crazy, where it would double. When you're about to have sex, when you're about to fucking kill a man, when you're about to be killed, and anything in between in terms of what your brain thinks could reasonably lead to those moments. So when we compete, generally we're competing against other men, and our subconscious brain knows, even if one of us is a little bitch and we don't want to admit it, that we're doing it for a woman. When we compete, our subconscious brain knows that we're competing for a woman, even if it doesn't seem like it. You're competing for the Olympics or some bullshit, like, bro, yeah, you know, the personal victory, you're doing it for yourself, but it's like your brain knows for a fact that you're gonna get some pussy because of that. So your testosterone goes up because your brain wants to, you know, your body pumps it full of testosterone because we want to achieve and to win this competition so that we can go and then mate and reproduce. Same with any little competition that you do, or any little altercation that happens. When you avoid altercations, there's something to say that to that co-worker, to that friend, but you avoid it, your testosterone decreases, because every altercation is kind of like a competition. An altercation is just kind of like an incident where it's like you versus this type of person, you know, this like, so someone's pissed you off, you've got to say it, someone's like being really loud, you know what I mean, you've got to like go for the altercation. When you're the guy who just kind of lets it slide, you actively avoid competition, you actively avoid increasing your testosterone. And the final thing before we actually get into how to increase your male aggression, just know that it's natural. Know that having this level of like aggression is absolutely natural. If it feels unnatural, that's not because you shouldn't be doing it. It's simply because you're going against society's standards. It's kind of like the weird realization that, you know, when once you're looking into the red pill for the first time, you're realizing like, oh yeah, women aren't really all princesses, and like, you know, they've got a very cutthroat sexual strategy that we're all implementing, and like the top 20% of men sleep with girls and everything. You kind of get this like odd feeling where you're like, wait, am I doing the right thing? Like being a red-pilled man and, you know, trying to be the top 20% guy, trying to sleep with multiple women and everything. You kind of get that thought. And I think it's the same with this. I think sometimes you might end up overthinking, thinking like, wait, should I be like trying to be more aggressive? Because isn't aggression like a bad thing? And would Adonis, would Ryan Holiday, would they think that it's a good thing or a bad thing? The thing is, you need the ability to tap into it. I want to restate that. Do not take this video as an excuse to be more aggressive towards people who don't deserve it. But someone who deserves your aggression, like someone who objectively deserves it, someone who's threatening you, a situation in which you need to like, there's a certain word, like I think it begins with P. I keep thinking about it and I'm like, that's the exact word that would fit here. Something to do with like to push yourself to it. I don't know which word it is. It'll come to me after I'm done with the video probably. But okay, so there's a couple of different things. So firstly, I think just hearing this video, getting this knowledge, it has probably inspired you to hopefully think, like, yeah, like I should be more aggressive in that sense. The second one is breathing. So generally, with the breathing advice that we've all followed, I know this seems weird, like to be more aggressive, breathe, but just bear with me, right? Most of the breathing advice that we followed from like meditation, it's to relax us. So most people should be doing that, and the thing is, we should too. Like we should be relaxed for most of the day. You know, the relaxed type of breathing is like very slow through the nose, in, and then a longer exhale. Like as long as the exhale can go, it's like nice and relaxed. So we'll do like a relaxing breath together. So in through the nose, out through the nose. And really, really just let it go out. You do that for a couple of minutes, you'll feel nice and relaxed. That's kind of like the opposite thing we want to do to when we want to get aggressive. And maybe you'll actually see it in my face if I do it like real close. The opposite is essentially, sometimes we want to hyperventilate. So if you do this on purpose, it has a benefit. You don't like, hyperventilation is quite like a bad thing if it happens automatically through like a panic attack or something. But I found, and the research somewhat shows this, and there's like, you can just search it online for the shit, but like, if you do it voluntarily, as you'll see like athletes do it, like for example, what do you see a power lifter do just before like they're going and lift the heavy bar? They're not like, you know, doing like, they're not meditating, doing like, if you, they go up to it like, big breath in, big squat, and they're like raging, they're being loud. So instead of like a nice, you know, slow, controlled breath, do the exact opposite. Hyperventilate with me just for a few seconds. In through your nose, out through your mouth, fast. I feel it already. I personally felt like a rush of warm blood around my neck. And that was 5 seconds. When you need to reclaim your, you know, when you need to use your male aggression, don't, like in the middle of a fight or something, don't be like nice and relaxed. Society, again, like you'll be seen as like the nice guy if like, you know, someone's screaming at you, and you'll be seen as a nice guy who's just sat there just meditating. You will go home and feel like a bitch. If you've been in those situations like I have, where you just did nothing against some aggressor who like was coming into your face, who could have hurt you, and you tried to do this thing of like, oh no, I'm the calm one, I'm the one who's meditating, bro. You'll feel like a bitch for fucking years because you didn't defend yourself. Like you get like slapped up by like your friend or some bullshit. Like when you need your aggression, you need to get loud. That's the second tactic there as well that I've got. It's like, get loud. When was the last time, like, I speak to some guys, no offense to him, maybe he's watching this video, but I did a call with this guy, like with multiple guys, to be honest. Most guys I do calls with, they speak in a very, very, like, not exactly feminine, but just a very quiet, like timid voice. Like, get loud, like, speak with some fucking volume in your mouth. How does the king, do you think the king talks like this? Like, oh, like, you know, and then, like, they're looking away with contact. Look directly in someone. You should be speaking loud. Now, don't, like, you know, speak like a dickhead or anything, but speak loud, bro. Like, project your voice. Speak with clarity. Stop speaking like this. Like, oh, yeah, and then I did this thing, and yeah, maybe you're right, Hamza. Like, speak like this. That's just in general, like, when you're speaking, you know, to people and everything, speak with some, like, this is how I'd speak to someone normally, right? If me and my friend were speaking, and sometimes we'd laugh, and I'd get even louder when we're laughing and stuff, but I would never speak to a friend like, oh yeah, how you doing? You know what I mean? But sometimes when I'm making a point, and people are hearing me make a point like I do on YouTube, I'm talking like this. Now, that being said, you can go one level above this, which I find is so helpful. It's weird as fuck, and so if you feel too uncomfortable to do this, I won't even blame you. Sometimes just fucking shout, bro. Sometimes I'm on my bicycle, I'm riding to the gym and kickboxing. Sometimes I'll literally just be like, whoa! Like, for no fucking reason, bro. Sometimes, like, I'll like almost like crash my, like, you know, I did that noise just then, whoa! Like, I literally felt like the same level of, like, adrenaline. I can never pronounce that word, bro. Adrenaline. Say it for me, bro. Say it, bitch. It's like I felt it just then kick in with, like, 1 second. A sense of, like, aggression just came about me, but in a good way. In a way of, like, now, like, I'm speaking louder in general. I feel more confidence. I feel, like, proud. I feel, like, capable right now. When you're just timid and you're in your mind, you're just weak. You're not projecting yourself into the world. You're not, like, you've got to, like, fucking, there's an author I really like, and the way that he writes books, I always found it funny, but now I'm beginning to realize, like, the way he would say is, like, you've got to penetrate the world like you penetrate your woman. It's like, that's so fucking true. Like, stop, like, would you, like, do you want to, like, limp penetrate? Do you want to, like, limp dick your girl? Of course not. Why are you limp dick in the world? You get to choose, like, you honestly get to choose. Do you want to limp dick the world? Or do you want to have it with, like, a rock hard fucking penetration of the fucking world? Do you want everyone to know that you're here? Most guys are limp dicking it, and they're no surprise that they get no attention from anyone. They get no respect from men, no respect from women. Sometimes just get loud, bro. I know this is fucking weird advice, and someone's gonna, like, cringe to this, and they're like, oh, this is a stupid video, but, like, this video's not for you. If you're watching this and you're thinking, like, oh, this is stupid, like, it's not for you. This is for the guys who it's about fucking time that you reclaim your male aggression that's been stripped away from you by this society. Because with this, like, level of, like, aggression, but you know that same saying of, like, penetrating in the fucking world, bro, you start to actually do some things instead of just being, like, shy and timid. You go up and speak to that girl, because when you're in this energy of, like, being loud and laughing and everything, making noises and, like, not giving a fuck, you go up and speak to that girl because you feel like it's your right as a man to just go up and at least see if she's interested in you. Whereas the timid limp dick guy looks from the outside and he's like, oh, you shouldn't speak to girls in the gym. Like, okay, well, go home and watch fucking porn then. That's what the limp dick guys are gonna do. You choose right now which life you want. And the thing is, anyone who's complaining about this, they've made that choice. For me personally, I'm choosing this one, bro. I'm choosing the fucking rock hard penetration of the fucking world, bro. And if that comes from, like, this level of aggression and shouting, just honestly getting angry. So generally, like, the thing is, I'm not an angry guy. And I think that's a skill. I think being angry is a bad thing. But do you know what's very, very interesting? In this book that I'm reading about complex PTSD and, you know, how to heal from, like, childhood trauma and how to, like, you know, like, reintegrate yourself back into society, he really, really emphasizes the value of angering. That's what he calls it. And he says, like, you've got to allow yourself to be angry at the injustices that you've faced. You've got to, like, vent about it. Not all the time. Don't hold on to it, like, you know, forever or anything. The idea is, if you've had an injustice about you, get angry when it's happened. Get, like, you know, like, this is annoying and whatever, right? And then calm down straight after that. Do not, like, worst case scenario, if you're someone like me, bro, some injustice happens, someone treats you in a bad way, whatever happens, and you don't, like, respond to it, and you keep it in your mind, and then it's like you're angry in your mind for fucking days. Like, you're getting in an argument, right? You get in an argument, you're nice and calm while the other person's swearing and saying some mean things on, like, online or whatever it is, and you don't really say much because, you know, you're fucking timid, you're limp dick right now. Then you start to think of all the stuff you should have said for literally days afterwards. Like, what would have been better? You know, everyone saw you being calm and that's nice and stuff. But if you got angry a bit, it's like you sort of like expelled that energy inside of you and you feel like that was checked off. But now, because we limp dicked it for most of our lives, we've just carried all that extra negativity in our mind because we didn't have the confidence to just, you know, show some fucking aggression. If you don't feel right showing this level of aggression and anger and being loud, chances are two things. One, it's societal influence, which you're a victim of, which is said like, oh, you know, men shouldn't be loud, men shouldn't be angry or something. You should be less masculine, you should be more feminine, which is a problem. Or two, it's that you've already been like conditioned by your parents, by society, to like hide it in, especially by your parents, with the idea that when you get loud, when, for example, I just said to start shouting. If you shouted as a child and you got like hits for that, you're probably gonna find it weird. This advice right now, you're probably gonna think, oh no, I'd never do that. It's really, really worth the introspectiveness to think, okay, why is this advice weird to you right now? What is it? Is it that you don't want to be seeming weird in front of like the civilians outside, and so you'd rather be like another limp dick fucking mindless person of society? Or is it that it kind of brings up this PTSD flashback of like your parents used to hit you or shout at you when you would shout? Shouting for me has been one of the biggest ones, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'd say all of them have been very nice, but shouting when I'm just on my bike, I'll just make random fucking noises sometimes. I'll just like, not like I'm not a fucking weirdo, I'm not like, I don't do it like just right next to people. Generally, like I'm on the street by myself and I'll almost fall off my bike, or I'll go really fast or something, or I'll jump off a curb and I'll like make a shout or joint, like a joke, not joke, like a noise with it. One of the things, like, I'm actually proud of this, even though this is so fucking weird, but you'll know if you can like relate to me because of this. I was on the bike and there was like a car that was just like, I was on the road and there was a car that was just like too close, and I'm sure like, you know, they would have like moved off, gave me more space. Like I was going against the traffic in like this weird bit where you've got to do that on like a bike, and they were like slightly on the bike lane a bit. Usually, you know, I'd stay as far as I could to the right, and I'd like, you know, be proper timid and like, you know, look away from them. I looked at the driver like in the fucking eyes when they come in, and I went like this. And I was like, come on bro, move to the side. And they did. Another time I was like biking and these kids were in front of me. I'm like biking pretty fast on this lane of like, there's a bike lane and there's a pathway. The kids are on the pathway, but they're all like in arms, like they're all just, you know, being kids, pushing each other and shit. I press the bell, they don't hear me. I keep pressing the bell, like one of them hears me and he kind of like pulls to the side. He tries to pull like, you know, his friends off the bike path, and his other friend like jumps in front of it. And I literally, like, he didn't really see that I was coming, but his friend was like, you know, being stupid and like pulled his other friend in it or some bullshit. With enough space that I could have stopped, but I didn't even fucking stop, bro. I kept on cycling. I was like, yo, what are you saying, bro? What are you doing? Like, as I was biking past, and he like, it kind of scared him enough, but I was like, I would have usually just stayed fucking silent, but it's like, I almost fucking crashed because of that. I almost like, I would have like hurt this kid, not killed him or anything, not serious, but if we crashed it, like, it would have hurt him a lot more than me. I felt kind of bad for this one because I fully like shouted as I was like going past, like making eye contact, and I think I fucking traumatized the kid. But at least I'm proud for the fact that like I would have usually just carried on cycling, just like eyes down type of shit. I'm glad that I actually had the ability to kind of like get angry at something that like it could have been a dangerous situation, and because of that, it was like a 5-second thing of me being angry, and I was like, oh yeah, there you go. Instead of me like, you know, for an hour afterwards, like, oh, you know, I almost hit that kid, like, oh, that kid, he shouldn't have been playing around on the bike lane and shit. I'd say one of the final things which links to the video that I'm also going to upload today, that video is going to be titled the sexual marketplace is going to be more cutthroat, something like that. So it links with that, which is that one of the final ways to reclaim your male aggression is to understand and to compete for women. You've got to understand that the sexual market, like, you should just watch the other video. It's like an hour long, and I think that's probably the best video I've ever recorded, personally. I'm not gonna lie, I really think that's probably the best video I've ever recorded. The most important, like, just watch that video as well. But the final way to reclaim your male aggression is to really keep it in mind that like we're competing for women right now, and obviously competing gives us the highest testosterone boost. Compete in an aggressive way. Don't be aggressive towards women. Don't like pursue them aggressively, but compete in an aggressive way. So when we say competing for women, we're not like thinking about women specifically. We're thinking we're competing against other guys who are leveling up on self-improvement. Compete against those guys aggressively. See those guys as like somewhat of like the enemy. Now, of course, 100% I often say, okay, don't see, you know, people as the enemy, guys on self-improvement, see them as friends, and, you know, we all get to climb up together. That's nice. But it's very, very, very beneficial to have like a couple of like competitors, enemies in your mind. So try and befriend as many guys as you can who are on self-improvement. But for example, like there'll be like one random guy I've seen on Instagram. I've never spoke to him or anything, but it's like, bro, I'm running faster than that guy. He's done nothing to me. I've done nothing to him or anything, but it's like I'm almost using I'm using him as an example in my mind of like competition, because competition is so important for men. We just often don't get into it. So I'm thinking about this random guy. Like I won't even tell you his name or anything, but it's like some random profile. Like it doesn't even matter like who it is. It literally doesn't matter who it is. He's just an attractive guy. I'm thinking about him and I'm thinking like, okay, like I'm beating this motherfucker. I'm like, no, like if I sleep in today, like he's already gotten up. No, if I do not enough work today, he's doing some fucking work today, so I've got to make sure that I'm doing it too. It's like I'm just thinking about like him, and like there's a couple of guys in it, but just in general, I often think about like the whole sexual marketplace as one, and I think of like, you know, the hundreds of thousands of guys who are putting some fucking work. It helps more when you think about a specific person. It could be me. I want you to think of someone, potentially someone you're not like related to in any sense, because if you think of it as me, you'll probably have like some random like negativity towards like me and my videos, and we don't want that. Think of find some random guy on Instagram, screenshot his profile, maybe follow him or something, and literally just think, okay, this is the fucking enemy, this is the guy like I've got to do more than. Remember his name. Let's say his name's Jack. Literally thinks to yourself like, no, like Jack is gonna have a cold shower, I'm gonna have a cold shower, make sure it's longer than him. Yeah, that pussy got out after like 2 minutes, I'm gonna stay for 3. Jack only lifted like this much weight today, but I'm gonna lift more weight, like in a safe way. Of course, don't do anything fucking stupid, but think about it in a safe way. Like, oh, Jack like overate his calories today. He ate a little bit of chocolate. I'm not gonna eat any. I don't know if that's like a healthy to do or not, but at least in my perception, that level of competition that you just ingrain in your mind, thinking about this like character almost that you want to beat, it puts your like drive in. You get like you want like a sense of aggression towards this character, and like be like pissed off at them and think like, no, like I'm not letting him win, because if he does more than me, he's gonna end up like fucking the girl that I want. And I know that sounds toxic. You've got to watch the other 1 hour long video that I just made. That sounds toxic as fuck, but bro, it's the fucking truth. I explain it in so much more detail in the other video, but it's the fucking truth, bro. Like, we are all competing for women, love, sex, intimacy in the sexual marketplace. And if someone beats you, if someone runs faster than you in this competition, bro, like they're taking the women that you wanted. That woman at the finish line that you were like looking at, that you really were attracted to, but you let some other guy run past you, well, he's taking her, bro. That's something to get angry at. That's something to be thinking like, no, fuck that guy. He's not running faster than me. Grab him by the fucking collar, bro. Run faster than him. It's a random fucking video I just wanted to make, but hopefully it's helpful to someone else, because I feel so much better. This has all been literally in the last like couple of weeks, honestly, that I've like reclaimed my male aggression, and I've started to like be more angry and everything. Like, not in a bad way. Definitely not. I don't think this has been in a negative way whatsoever. I think it's actually been very positive. Maybe just kind of negative to like the little kid that I shouted at, but he deserved it, fucking stupid kid. Just come on, you don't fucking just drag your friend into a bike lane when there's a fucking bike coming, bro, you dumbass. But yeah, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.